Okay. Definitely going to have to grab that one. And we did post the link to Miss Jenkins' books over there in the chat, so you can certainly follow along and find out what happens next. What a great reading. Thank you so much. Our final reader today is Sarena Ulibarri. Sarena Ulibarri is a speculative fiction author from the American Southwest. Her short fiction has appeared in Lightspeed, Dreamforge, Solarpunk magazine, and elsewhere. And her novella, Another Life, will be released from Stelliform Press in 2023. She is also editor-in-chief at World Weaver Press. Take it away.
All right, I'm just going to read from the beginning of Another Life. When I arrived on the shaded communal balcony for my building's weekly potluck, my neighbors were talking about the results of their reincarnation analysis. Cindy Shao dropped a silver disc on the table in front of me before I even had the chance to sit down. Galatia, you have to see this. Everyone shifted around the table to make space for me. I moved an algae lamp aside so I could better see what Cindy was trying to show me. She pushed a button and a holographic image of a stern-looking man rotated a few inches above the disc. I didn't recognize the name below his picture, but the death date was a few months before Cindy's birthday. You were an old white man? Cindy threw her head back and laughed. I know, isn't it hilarious? Here, look at mine, Alex said. Green lights flickered across the balcony as people showed off who they had been. Voices drifted from other buildings, nearly every balcony and patio in the small desert city of Otravita, alive with discussion and laughter. The lake glinted with the last light of the sun slipping behind jagged peaks, and a carbon capture drone passed through the pink and orange sky. Cindy's partner, Jackson, was one of the few without a silver disc. I loaded my plate, starting with the sun-roasted potato mix in front of him. You didn't get one? Jackson held up a hand so he could finish chewing before answering. The records from the gene vault only go back about 60 years. Cindy brushed a finger through the gray part of his beard, and he clacked his teeth playfully at her hand. You're not 60. I think he doesn't have a match because he used to be a house cat. Maybe that. He held his mason tea jar up in a mock toast. I don't believe in it anyway, he stage whispered to the rest of us. A lot of people weren't recorded in the gene vault, Mickey added. Back then, it was just the ones Thomas Ramsey could dupe into it. Mickey's face darkened the way it always did when that name came up. She took a bite, and with her mouth full, she said, at least we know jerks like him are cockroaches now. Do we know that? I asked. My cousin Diego's research had moved so fast, and I didn't see him nearly as frequently as when his dad was alive. This was the most I'd heard about this project. Mickey shrugged. Diego proved reincarnation is real. Karma probably comes along with that. Obviously, I got an upgrade, Cindy said, so I must have been the sweetest old white man in the world. Jackson ducked away from a hornet that buzzed around the table. I doubt karma's a simple reward and punishment system, though, he said. The hornet landed on the table and Mickey slammed a napkin onto it, rattling the pots and jars. Cindy gasped, Mickey, that's so mean. What? Mickey held the smashed insect out on the napkin. Cindy squirmed away from it. See, it's Ramsey. Mickey laughed raucously. Most of the others cast her a disapproving look, but we were used to her crass nature by now. Besides, no one was eager to defend either an invasive hornet or Thomas Ramsey, who was universally known and universally hated even more than 40 years after his death. This was the man who had declared climate change wasn't worth fixing because he had ships ready to take anyone who could afford a ticket to Planet B. Except it turned out there was no Planet B, and the only ship he had exploded on the launch pad. He'd conned millions of people out of millions of dollars, and the fallout of his scam had led to war, economic collapse, and an urgent overhaul of a carbon-heavy society. Cindy flapped a hand to get my attention. Galatia, you haven't gotten yours yet? What, my past life? No, not yet. Too busy, I guess. That was certainly true enough, though when I'd first heard about these reincarnation results, I'd assumed it was some new trend at the witching house. Now that I knew it was my baby cousin's newest science project, I was much more intrigued. Mickey tapped my arm with her elbow. I bet you're busy. Heard you got a challenger this year. I swallowed a breaded jalapeno and patted my lips with a cloth napkin. It's true. Tanner Mendocino has put in his bid to be mediator. It was the first time in the 20 years of our city's existence that anyone had run against me. Back when Otravita was founded, an election was as simple as a raising of hands. But nearly 2,000 people called this desert valley home now, so we were organizing a more formal process. Who is that anyway? Alex asked from down the table. Is he a petitioner? Inheritor, Mickey said. One of the kids? I don't remember a Tanner. You probably knew him before he transitioned. He painted that mural on the South Dam. Oh, right. Alex nodded and gave an appreciative laugh. He sure had a glow up, didn't he? Well, Cindy said matter-of-factly, I can't imagine it'll be much of a competition. Everyone loves Galatia. She built Otrivita. No, I said, gesturing around the table. All of you built Otrivita. But none of us would be here if not for you, Mickey said. There's being politely humble, and then there's denying your legacy. I wrapped an arm around Mickey in a side hug. If nothing else, I said, Tanner's challenge will give people a second chance to let me know I still speak for them. Jackson raised his mason jar in a legitimate toast this time. Their way of life wasn't built for us, so we built another life. It was something I used to say a lot when our community was struggling for stability, and it had become something of an informal motto. Everyone on the balcony echoed the toast. Diego's workspace was near the North Dam, inside what we called the Mobius building. 2 elevated wheels connected by a long figure-8 hallway, it was one of Otrivita's more unique buildings. Even though I was in a hurry, I couldn't resist taking the long way, climbing to the green roof first and winding down the spiral ramp into the center of one wheel. Following the figure-8 hallway, I passed a dozen doors sporting signs from other scientists, either warning to keep out or requesting research help. Many of these scientists were founders, part of the crew that Diego's father and I had rounded up when we first piped desalinated seawater into Death Valley. Others were petitioners, those who had come after the waterline was finished and the city was founded on the shores of our new artificial lake. Diego, now not quite 21, had been the first baby born in Otrivita, the first of a generation we had dubbed the Inheritors. I knocked on the door and Diego answered, positioning half-moon glasses on his nose. A grin lit up his entire face. I wrapped his thin frame into a hug. What are you doing here, Prima? He asked. I came to find out about this reincarnation thing you're doing. Of course. He waved me inside. So I will stop there, and from the description you can tell that things don't go quite the way she hopes that they might.